One of my friends just had a baby, so I wanted to make something special for her. One of the touchstones of Chinese culture is that when a mother gives birth, there are some special dishes that she eats to assist in her recovery. So I'm off to Chinatown to get the ingredients to make these dishes for her. The key ingredient to these postpartum dishes is ginger, but not just any ginger. Regular ginger just won't do. You need to use young ginger, or 猪姜. See how the skin is so much smoother and the color lighter than regular ginger? We'll also need to pick up some of the other ingredients that we'll need for these dishes. You have to understand, these aren't ordinary everyday dishes, so I don't normally have these ingredients on hand. But though they're only normally served on this special occasion, they're a really important part of Chinese culture, and I want to share them with you. Look how pretty that young ginger is, with those bright pink tips. Even though this is a special dish, it's so ono, and I could totally see eating it on a more regular basis. The skin is much more thin and delicate, as is the flesh, and it has a lighter flavor than regular ginger. Chinese firmly believe in the almost magical healing power of ginger. Whenever we get sick, it's not so much the chicken soup that makes everything better, but the heaping amount of ginger that's in the soup, or the juk that does the trick. Since giving birth is really hard on the mother's body, we'll need a good amount of this ginger to help her recover. As we'll be stewing the ginger, just cut some nice big but thin slices. Now for the protein. For this first dish, the main ingredient is pig's feet, or 猪腳. I get that some folks might be squeamish about eating pig's feet. That's why they try to market them as pork knuckles. But honestly, they don't taste too different from pork belly. If you like bacon, you'd probably like pig's feet too. The first thing we need to do is parboil them for about 4 to 5 minutes to clean them off. You see that scum that floats to the surface? Those are all the impurities that we want to get rid of. Just skim them off before taking out the pig's feet. So we have nice clean meat. Now, we'll start off the pot with the pig's feet and all of that fragrant ginger. We're going to stew them in a whole bottle of Chinese Black Vinegar, or Ha Mai. Again, not something I normally keep in the cupboard, but we're basically going to use a whole bottle. To that, I'm going to add 1 cup of 小青椒, or Chinese rice wine. Also something with purported healing properties. As well as a half cup of 老抽, or dark soy sauce. Dark soy sauce is less salty and has deeper umami than regular soy sauce. Finally, we want to sweeten it all up with a slab of wongtong, or Chinese yellow sugar, which has an old-fashioned, nostalgic Chinese taste. It's got a more complex flavor than processed white sugar, and happens to be one of my friend's favorites. Then, we just cover it and let it simmer for about 2.5 hours on low heat. So simple, right? The other dish I want to make is a fried rice, using more of that wonderful aromatic ginger. Now, in Hawaii, the rice we use is calrose rice. It's the soft, moist, short-grain rice that you typically see in sushi. It's wonderful, but since it's so soft, to make a good fried rice, you need to leave it in the fridge for a couple of days to get a little firmer and drier. Leftover rice is perfect. You just need to break up all of the big clumps so that it will fry evenly. Besides the ginger, we're going to use a bunch of green onions, or scallions, fresh from my yard. Just chop them up in nice half-inch pieces. For the ginger this time, after cutting the nice thin slices, cross-cut them so that the ginger comes out finely minced. You want to have a little sprinkling of ginger in every bite, and no big hunks to bite into. Of course, fried rice just isn't fried rice without some egg. About 4 eggs should do it. In Hong Kong, there are even luxury postpartum wards that new mothers can check into, where they even make baths out of this ginger, so not only can it heal you from the inside, but from the outside as well. Normally, you fry rice in a more neutral oil, but in my case, I'm going to use Mayo or sesame oil, so I can give the rice a nice toasty, nutty flavor. We're not relying on a meat like lapchang or spam to flavor the rice, so the oil and the herbs should stand out. First, we fry up that wonderful ginger. We want to release the aroma as well as tone down the sharpness of the ginger. When the ginger is nice and golden, add in your rice. Hopefully, the rice is all broken up so that it will fry evenly, and you can stir it easily. If you see any remaining chunks, be sure to break them up with your spoon. This time we're going to add a drizzle of light soy sauce, or sangchou. It's saltier and brighter than the lochou we used before. Don't be too heavy-handed with it. You just want the right balance. Now we add in the egg. Make a small well in the center of your rice to cook the egg in. We want some of the egg to set into small curds so that you can really taste the egg. Then use the rest of the egg to coat all the rice. I'm going to throw in a handful of Ha Mai, or dried shrimp, to amp up the flavor even more. Of course, Ha Mai is my cat's favorite snack. Finally, when the rice is done, turn off the heat and throw in the green onions. The residual heat is more than enough to warm up the onions and release their incredible aroma. And that's it! Braised pig's feet and ginger, or 猪腳薑醋, the classic Chinese postpartum dish. And my ginger fried rice, or 薑炒飯. I remember when my wife gave birth to each of my boys. My mom made this pig's feet and this fried rice and brought them to her in the maternity ward. It was such a magical, joyful time in my life, and these dishes instantly stir those happy memories. Of course, before giving them to my friend, I have to taste some of it to make sure it came out okay. Come on, that looks so ono. If you didn't know it was a pig's foot, all you'd see is this mouth-watering piece of meat. This is the true sweet and sour pork, not that gloppy, sugary mess you get at Panda Express. Honestly, that tastes so good. It's so tender. The tartness of the vinegar is mellowed out and offset with the caramelly sweetness of the sugar. Actually, the meat is pretty lean compared to pork belly, but the skin is the same unctuous, melt-in-your-mouth texture you get from pork belly, like kaoyok. Alright, gotta taste the ginger itself. Since that's the thing with the magical healing properties, my mom insisted that my wife eat the ginger too. Whoa, even though it's young ginger, it still has a decent kick, though it is much more palatable than regular ginger. On the other hand, the fried ginger in the fried rice has been much more mellowed out. It's far easier to ingest this way. The toasty flavor of the sesame oil and the slight saltiness of the soy sauce and all the aromas of the ginger and onion are all so perfectly balanced. It looks plain and simple, but it's honestly so flavorful. I hope my friend cherishes this time with her new baby. These are magical, wondrous times I hope she never forgets. And I hope that the taste of my pig's feet and ginger fried rice linger in her memory as part of it. Until next time, Joy Keen and a hui ho.